So we will proceed with different technologies that are available today that allow companies to interact with consumers. And now we will look at augmented reality, which is increasingly becoming popular. And with this technology, what happens is usually a digital an image from a real world, usually captured through a digital camera, is integrated with imposed graphics. In order imposed graphics or audio or any other sense enhancements in order to maximize consumers or users' experience. So what happens is through augmented reality, it's possible for a real world image to be taken in real time and be integrated with this imposed graphics or audio or any other sense enhancer. And in that way, the consumer's experience is maximized. And this is important because one of the challenges that online businesses are facing is, especially retailers, is the lack of touch and feel. That when we buy things online, different from physical stores, we miss the opportunity to touch and feel the products. And this has created a lot of problems. We have so many people returning products that they thought they liked them at first, but when you receive the products, you realize that's not something you really wanted, especially when it comes to clothes or shoes and many other products. But in many ways, augmented reality technology helps to solve that problem. And I'll show you videos of examples of how augmented reality technology is used today. First, we will look at a video on the virtual fitting room, how online retailers are employing augmented reality. So as I said, this technology provides an opportunity or fills the void of the possibility to touch and feel products online. So in this case, consumers do not necessarily need to go to physical stores and try out outfit before.
Futurist. I spend my time working with global governments and associations around the world.
Sorry. So it provides that opportunity for consumers to try out things, to feel the products, to touch, where your image is captured in real time and integrated with, say, clothes in this case, and you can try out as if you were in a fitting room to see how the clothes fit together. But also there is another use of augmented reality.
A major phenomenon in China. But when it comes to grocery shopping, people still prefer the traditional supermarkets. This is Carrefour, with 220 outlets at present, and adding 20 more this year alone. Each store handles over 10,000 customers every day. Tesco and Metro are just as big. Competing against these multinationals is a local e-commerce company called Yihaodian, an online grocery service. Yihaodian means number one store in English, and that's exactly what the founders want to be, the number one. To realise this dream, Yihaodian had to steal customers from the much bigger pie of brick and mortar shopping. So, on October the 15th, 2012, we opened 1,000 stores overnight in some of China's most strategic and iconic locations. And since we are an online grocery store, our supermarkets weren't made of brick and mortar, but of pixels and bytes. Measuring 40 by 40 meters each, they covered the equivalent of 1.6 million square meters of prime commercial real estate. We placed them conveniently on parking lots, business campuses, and near office buildings. In Beijing alone, there were 100 stores, even at Tiananmen Square and the Forbidden City. In fact, we even built one right under Carrefour's nose. Our location-based augmented reality app helps people locate the nearest store. They can enter it like a regular supermarket, walk through the aisles, and choose from over 1,000 products. When they check out, purchases in their virtual baskets are delivered straight to their home. Time-starved consumers liked this combination of traditional retailing experience and e-commerce. After all, there are no long lines at checkout and no trolleys with wonky wheels. News of our 1,000 store launch spread through PR, video and word of mouth, and Yihaodian was thrilled by a staggering 17% increase in revenue over a 3-month period. So now when it comes to sales per square foot, we can truly say that we are Yihaodian.
So these are some of the examples through which augmented reality, where augmented reality technology is applied. But there are so many other examples out there. Actually, right now, so many industries are trying to exploit opportunities using augmented reality. For instance, the tourism industry is increasingly using this technology. For instance, people could visit certain sites that may not be that attractive as they used to be, but through augmented reality it's possible to provide a completely different experience to consumers by integrating the images of the destination by with graphics or any other sensor enhancer in order to maximize their experience. So the limits on how you can apply this technology, you can use it, it's just your imagination. It's a technology that is still evolving and many people are still experimenting. But it provides a powerful way for companies that are engaging in online businesses to interact with their consumers. So the different components of digital business infrastructure can be perceived as layers that you could categorize them at different levels, and this provides us with a framework through which we can analyze this with tools. And we have a framework that distinguishes the digital business infrastructure into 5 categories, or 5 layers in this case. And the first layer, or the first level of the digital business infrastructure are the different applications that digital enterprises are using. So whether it's customer relationship management applications, supply chain management, data mining, content management, accounting, payroll, and so on and so forth. So all the applications that companies are using fit into that first level. And then you have the second level, which is systems software level. So here you have the different operating systems. We will discuss each one of these and give an example of how you can think about it. So you have different operating systems, the web browsers, server software, networking software, and so on. And you have to make decisions around these different levels and different options that are available for your business. And at the third level, because computers communicate with each other today, we integrate our information sharing. We also need to think about the network or transportation system of the data within your organization as well as across your organization to your business partners. So the different physical networks, the internet fall under this category. And then the fourth level is the storage. The processing of data results into output that we would like to store it for different uses. So it's also important to consider the different storage technologies that we have and that we have to consider. So this could be permanent magnetic storage on web servers, or optical backup, or temporary storage in memory, like random access memory. So different storage options. Today we have cloud computing services. We will also look at this later. So there are so many options that you can use to store the data of your organization. So we also have to consider that. And the last one is the content and the data layer. And this is how the output is displayed. So looking at that framework, we can give an example of one of the process or application in an organization. So for instance, an employee needs to book a holiday, and through the organization digital business infrastructure, this employee will first access a specific human resource application, and that will, through this application, he or she will be able to load his or her request, and this request will be forwarded to the manager or HR department, whoever is responsible. And this application typically will be accessed, say, through a web browser, and normally for a computer to work you need an operating system. So you will see that in order to access this application, we have the first level of digital business infrastructure and the second level involved. And then you have the third level, where the information is transferred across the network that we have in the organization, because this information will have impact on different functions within an organization. It has to do with absence of an employee. This employee is connected to many other functions. So there is a system of sharing this information, and the transfer of this information will be taking place through the network, or the transport layer, as if we refer to our framework. After it has been transported, and then we have storage. It has to be stored, and that is where we use the fourth level or layer of digital business infrastructure. And finally, after it has been processed, this will have to be displayed as part of reports and for other uses, and that is the fifth level. So this is an example of just one application, but different applications could go through all these stages. So now I'll talk a little bit about the internet. I know most of you know a lot about the internet, and we have been referring to it over and over, that through the internet it's possible for the different devices, whether it's client desktop computers, mobile devices, to be connected to one another across the globe. And how it works is that usually the information are transmitted from client computers as a client desktops or mobile devices to server computers that hold the information or host business applications that deliver the services. So through the internet, it's possible for the devices that we are using, whether it's desktop computers or mobile devices, to communicate with servers that hold the information or the different applications that we want to access. So you can think of internet as a large-scale client server system where client devices are connected to servers and interact with one another. So this is a summarized framework of how the internet works. So you have computers that access, or organizations and households that access the internet through internet service providers. These are companies that provide connection in order for users to access the internet. In Norway, those are some of the companies that provide those services. But at a global level, you also have internet service providers that are providing connection across countries through backbones. Backbones, these are high-speed communication links that facilitate connection of computers across countries and internationally. So there are some management issues that are necessary to consider when it comes to introducing new services. And some of these are domain name selection of hosting services, including cloud providers, and selection of additional SaaS platforms. SaaS stands for software as a service. We will also have a much more detailed look at this. So we will start with domain name selection. So we say companies typically have many digital services located on different domains, especially for companies that have domains for different countries. So sometimes a company may have operations in different countries, and you may want to have different domain names. And sometimes, even within the same country, you may be hosting different sites, and you may want to have different domain names. And it's very important because through a domain name, which usually is selected to be the same as the name of the company, people can easily find you. So it's a way of being located on the internet space. So usually you have an extension for the domain name, which is also known as generic top-level domain. I'll show you some examples. So some of the common generic top-level domains are .com, which represents an international American company, .org, such as internet.org, which is an extension for not-for-profit organizations, .mobile, introduced in 2006 for size configured for mobile phones, .net, which is for companies that provide network services. And also you have country-specific extension called country code top-level domains, such as .co.uk. This is for a company that is based in the UK, .no, Norway, .au, CDE, and so on and so forth. And you have .ac.uk, which is a UK-based university or other education institution. So usually the extension would have a certain meaning and can give you more information about the address. And you have like file name.html, which usually refers to the specific page or individual web page in a website. It is important for companies to define a URI strategy. URI standing for Universal or Uniform Resource Locator, which is a web address. So this works pretty much like a physical address that we have, that in order to identify a certain house, you need to have an address. In the same way, a URI is an address through which people can locate you in the online environment. So it's very important to define a URI strategy, because it has to do with increasing visibility of your company in the online space. One of the issues that you need to consider is domain name registration, and that is officially reserving a unique web address that can be used to refer to the company website. It happened, of course, these days it's not very common, but I'll show you an example of a case. But sometimes you can use a domain name that another company claims to be its own. So this can result into a legal litigation called cyber squatting, that a legal dispute regarding domain names. And this is an example. It's one of the classic examples of cyber squatting or disputes regarding domain names. It happened back in 1998 or 1999, where a company called One in a Million Limited created multiple domain names by twisting slightly some of the existing domain names. So these companies, such as British Telecommunications, Virgin Enterprises, Marks and Spencer, they had their websites, but they did not register their domain names. So knowing that having a name that sounds like those domain names increases the chance of visibility, this company called One in a Million Limited created multiple domain names by slightly twisting this name. So for instance, Marks and Spencer officially had this one. And what they did was to create this, just changing slightly. And the same for the other companies. And because he registered all of these, he started selling them to other companies. But he was sued, of course, and the case was judged in favor of those companies. But still, it remains one of the classic cases for involving domain names disputes. These days, it doesn't happen too often. It used to happen often back in 1990s, but it's not very common these days because people are so much aware of these things. But still, you cannot take it for granted. You need to register your domain name to be sure. And usually domain names are registered for a specific period of time, so you need also to make sure that you renew the registration of your domain name. Also, we will consider the management of technology infrastructure at different levels, 2, 3, and 4. We will start with level 2, and that is systems software, such as operating system, server software, and network. And the key question that managers are facing when it comes to this level 2 software is whether to standardize or not. That's different parts of the organization, whether they should use the same software or different part of the organization should use a different software. Of course, standardization has a number of benefits. It helps to reduce the number of contracts for support and maintenance. If you're using a uniform software platform, it's easy to provide support and maintenance services, as opposed to having different departments using different software. So another question, it could be whether you should use the same browser within the same organization or should use different browsers, and it's the same. Usually standardization in many ways helps to reduce cost. And also, you need to consider whether to standardize web server software, networking software, and all this. It's pretty much the same as when it comes to deciding about operating software. You need to consider the costs and benefits of standardizing or using different software within an organization. If there is a business case for having different software, you can do that, but it's very much recommended to standardize software, and it helps a lot, especially when it comes to transfer of information, interaction between different functional areas within an organization. It's very useful, and it saves a lot of cost when you have a standardized software platforms. So these issues of integration or standardization of software is one of the prime agendas for business managers, because it's very common that in many organizations that different applications are applied in different functions, and that is what we call application silos, that you create sort of fragments or layers, because different applications software are used in different functional areas, and it's very difficult, as I said, to communicate, or for these different functional areas to interact. And this is a representation of what we mean by application silos or fragmentation. So this is an organization with different functional areas. Here, provide an example of 3 functions, marketing functional areas: marketing, finance, and procurement and logistics. And each one of them is independent of the other, that they have their own applications, and these applications do not communicate with one another. They are not integrated. They are standalone, which means it's very difficult for marketing, for instance, to take advantage of the information, of the data generated in procurement and logistics department. Likewise, it's very difficult for finance to enhance its reports using process output information from procurement and logistics marketing. The functional silos or application silos can happen in 3 levels. One is you could have either different technology architectures may be used in different functional areas, so you have different architectures of the digital business infrastructure that are used in different functional areas, say finance, marketing, logistics, production, and so on. But also it could be different applications and separate databases in different areas, or different functional areas may for different processes or activities. We know organizations undertaking different processes and activities. Now, these processes or activities could either be standardized, like all functional areas follow the same processes or activities, or they could be separate. So when we talk about integration and application silos, mainly we refer to these 3 levels of application silos. So the opposite of application silos is integration, that integration of different functional areas in a way that these different functional areas can interact with one another, can share information, and can utilize data from one another to optimize the business operations. So what it involves technology architecture, applications, data architecture, and process architecture, whereby all these are standardized. They become uniform and integrated across the organization. And of course, these companies have been doing a lot of efforts to achieve this sort of integration. And there are so many companies out there that are providing integration solutions. So you have software such as enterprise resource planning provided with vendors such as SAP, BAN, PeopleSoft, and Oracle, and Microsoft, and so many other. So these are some of the solutions that are available that can facilitate integration of different functional areas within organizations. Of course, the approach of integrating different functional areas is very much consistent with the principle of EE business. But the challenge is it's very difficult to have a solution that I would say caters for all the needs of an organization. So still companies are faced with the challenge of obtaining a solution that provides with all the needs that an organization is facing. But the important thing is to know whether standardization works for you, or still different functional areas can maintain separate processes and activities and applications. But it's better to know that the more you standardize, the cheaper it is, but still you have to build a business case for that. And as I said, it's very difficult to obtain an integration solution that is self-sufficient or caters for all the needs of a business. And that is because different of these solutions that are out there in the market are superior at different levels or different functional areas. So this is an example of 3 solutions. One is enterprise resource planning applications, knowledge management software, and data warehousing, data mining. And this illustration shows the relative strength of each one of these across different management levels. So if you look at enterprise resource planning applications, by far they are very superior at the operational management level, where the day-to-day activities are taking place, and also at the tactical management level. But they are not performing so well at the strategic management level. And it is at this level where the long-term plans of an organization are set, or the long-term orientation of an organization is set. But knowledge management software performs very well, proportionally at the strategic management level, and likewise data mining and data warehousing. But they are not so good relative to enterprise resource planning at tactical management level and operational management level. This means that there are situations where you will need to consider different solutions within your organization. So you need to make this type of assessment and choose what is best for your organization. And I will start looking at web services, software as a service. This is something I just mentioned earlier, but we will look in much more detail now. Cloud computing and service-oriented architecture. So we will start looking at web services or software as a service. This is an increasingly popular model today that involves licensing and delivery model in which software is licensed on a subscription basis and is centrally hosted. So what happens with this is, instead of hosting applications locally in your computers, you are actually subscribing to a provider, and you access these applications through the net. If you think of software as a service from consumer perspective, you can think of Google Documents. That instead of having a word processor on your PC, you can access Google processing application, the Google Doc. So the same logic applies also for organizations, that instead of hosting different applications within your organization, there are companies out there that provide software as a service, that they provide with these services that you can access through the web without necessarily keeping those applications yourself. And this could be on subscription basis. And because of that, these are called on-demand services. So there are a number of benefits for using this software as a service, that instead of having the applications within your organization, you access it from a provider through the web. One is, usually this is provided on a subscription basis, and which means you can either switch it on or switch it off, or payments can be done according to the usage. That's why they are called on-demand services, that you incur costs as you go along in using the services. Which means, this brings us to the second advantage, that it helps you to save from installation and maintenance costs. So instead of having an IT department that will be responsible for maintaining all this application software that you need for your organization, through accessing the software as a service, you can get rid of those costs. And the cost savings, of course, are on both sides, to the server as well as to the client, that you as an organization as well as the provider, because this is completely provided through the web, or sometimes as a simple application that can be downloaded also through the web. So these are some of the justifications for adopting software as a service. And the logic is the same as in manufacturing. For those of you who have a background in supply chain management, it's the question of make or use, whether you have it in-house or you access it from an external provider. And here are some of the data that support the increasing importance of software as a service. There are so many companies out there today that choose now to maintain this application software internally. They access it from providers, and they report magnificent benefits. And these are some of the figures. So in a research that was conducted in the US and Canada by Computer Economics, that was from 2006, these are some of the results that were reported. 91% of companies showed a first-year return on investment from software as a service. Out of this, 57% of the total had economic benefits, which exceeded the sales costs, and 37 broke even in a year one. So these companies reported to have more benefits than the costs that are involved in using these services. And likewise, the same survey showed that in 80% of cases, the total cost of ownership came in either on budget or lower. So these are very promising figures, and then it shows a lot of potential for SaaS in this case. However, regardless of how attractive they might appear or sound, there are some of the issues also that you need to consider. In many ways, they help to reduce the cost of an organization, but also there are potential risks that you need to take care of. One is downtime and poor availability if the network connection or server hosting the application or server fails. We know that these services are delivered through the web, and from time to time we experience technical problems, which means if the services are downtime have failed, then you have you're running the risk of incurring a huge cost for your organization, because in this case, you will not be able to conduct the operations or processes that are connected to those applications. And it's even worse if these applications are also used by consumers and your provider cannot deliver them as it's supposed to be. So this is one of the challenges that software as services pose to digital enterprises. And also, it has been reported that these outsourced applications tend to have lower performance than a local database. Software that are hosted in-house tend to be much more superior than these provided by external providers. But of course, we know that companies have been making efforts to improve these services. So increasingly, probably in the long run, this will not be an issue anymore. But at the moment, this is one of the things that you need to consider, that the performance of these applications provided by external provider relative to the applications that you would host yourself. And then you have an issue of reduced data security, because with this, then you are entrusting someone else outside your organization to keep data on your behalf. So whether it's consumer data or data internally generated, these are kept by someone else, and you could be running the risk of exposing your data for people that can use it maliciously. So you need to make assessment of that, how critical security it is for your organization, and whether you can trust your data to an external provider. And also related to that is data protection, and this is pretty much the same, that from time to time organizations generate data, and you have to be careful that whenever you are using external applications, then you are running the chance of exposing your data to outsiders. So you have to access that services that are trustworthy. Now, related to service as a software is what we call application programming interfaces. This is another opportunity that is increasingly becoming trendy among companies, and there are so many companies today that are taking advantage of application programming interface. And what this means is these are platforms where organizations provide protocols, tools that allow external developers or other enterprises to develop applications. So traditionally, companies have been hiding their resources. And this, of course, this is for good reasons, to protect their intellectual property. But now we see increasingly companies opening up, sharing their resources, providing protocols, routines, tools that allow other people to build applications around your digital business infrastructure. And these are some of the companies that are capitalizing on API, application programming interfaces. One is Amazon, that does it through their services called Amazon Web Services. And this provide functionality for other developers to develop applications or build the websites by integrating with Amazon resources. And in one example, Amazon Web Services allow affiliates, developers, and website publishers to use Amazon product discovery, which enable other sites to incorporate data about Amazon products and pricing. And also you have Facebook and Twitter. Actually, Facebook now has built a huge ecosystem on the internet, and they do that through their application programming interface, that they provide protocols, routines, tools to other developers that can build applications that are capable of accessing data from Facebook. So it's very common these days that you may want to subscribe to a website and they can just ask you to sign in with your Facebook account. And that is because Facebook has opened up. But this works very much in favor of Facebook because they increase their ecosystem within an organization where traffic and increasingly it becomes a platform of choice when it comes to advertising because it's all over the net. Every website now is trying to integrate itself with Facebook, and that is possible because Facebook has opened up its resources. And likewise, Twitter and so many, Google also has done the same. Example for a retailer that uses application or programming interface is Sears, and they use APIs to improve its online user experience. So what this company has done is to open up their resources to allow developers to create apps that facilitate product searches and identify store locations. So they have opened up their protocols and other tools which allow any website to integrate products from Sears to their websites. And guess what? This works to their advantage because through that, this company is able to interact with consumers in different websites on different other platforms. It's 4 o'clock. I think I'll stop here for today, and I hope to see you on Friday.